Well, good evening. We have all sorts of watches and warnings. Southern areas of the coastline down near South Carolina under a hurricane watch, then a hurricane warning all the way up to Nags Head. North of there, a tropical storm warning means tropical storm winds are likely. And then from the Virginia state line north up through areas of Mobjack Bay. So really the eastern parts of the peninsula down through Southside. That is a tropical storm watch, which means that we have the possibility of tropical storm force winds here locally as well. Here is the storm again, very powerful storm, but not quite as powerful as it was earlier. We're starting to see the clouds move in over top of the eye. You can see how it starts to degrade a little bit and a little bit of dry air coming in. We're hoping that trend would continue. That'd be great news for the coastline. Obviously not as uniform as it was a little bit earlier. 120-mile-per-hour winds as of the 5 o'clock advisory with gusts to 150. Still looking like it'll be a major Category 3 storm at least as it sits here very close to Wilmington. Maybe it comes on shore and turns a few miles inland. Maybe it stalls 30 miles offshore and then turns, but it will absolutely approach Wilmington during the afternoon on Friday, and then it will again either turn just inland or down the coastline and be really raking areas of South and North Carolina before it gets caught up by a cold front eventually and brings some rain up through the Ohio Valley, Mississippi River Valley, some of those areas. Around here, we're going to have a significant rainfall event, several inches. We could have even more than this, 4, 5, 6 inches potentially, but again, the heavy, really life-threatening rains should stay down from sort of central or northeast central North Carolina down through parts of South Carolina. That was one of our better computer models. This is another one, and you can see locally, again, talking about inches of rain here, but not tons of inches. That is still, again, down to our south. Although this one brings a little bit more up into the mountains as some of the remnants slide up that way. In terms of the tides, we're looking at tidal ranges. The low end is if we get really lucky. The high end is a worst case scenario. We're talking next couple of cycles, which aren't even on here, generally minor flooding. Then when we get into Friday, early morning, so Thursday night into Friday morning, generally we think somewhere in the minor category. Saturday, it's looking like anywhere from the middle of minor, most likely would be moderate, right about in there, and maybe as high as the low end of major, which starts at 6.5 feet. That's still about 1.5 feet under Isabel. And then Saturday, I've been mentioning all along, I thought these numbers should come up. I have a feeling we will be upping the range at least a little bit for Saturday early morning and maybe even Saturday afternoon. Here's what you can expect. Southern Outer Banks. It's going to peak late Thursday into Friday, winds of 60 to 75 miles per hour. That's sustained winds, gusts up to 90. Rainfall 5 to 10 inches with some locally higher amounts. Major to extreme tidal flooding, and the overall impact obviously major to extreme. You can see the Northern Outer Banks. Definitely it falls off some the farther north you go. So east winds 30 to 40, gusting to 60, 4 to 8 inches of rain, moderate to maybe major overall impacts, including the tidal flooding. Inland areas of North Carolina, east winds 35 to 45, gusting to 55. Winds, again, we're going to tend to drive the water up a little bit, so moderate tidal flooding, moderate overall impact. Rainfall, you should be just out of the really high stuff. It wouldn't take much to give you even more significant rainfall amounts, but inland areas, we think you're going to be out of the heaviest rain. Inland Hampton roads should certainly be out of the super heavy rainfall like parts of the Carolinas, still 3 to 6. 20, and this includes, when I say inland, we are including the peninsula and the northern neck as well. Winds 25 to 35 sustained, gusting over 40. So gusting to tropical storm force strength, moderate tidal flooding, and a moderate overall impact. And again, the tides are the one thing that really could change depending on how long it sits offshore. So we can't let our guard down just yet because we're still going to have some significant impacts. Here's for most of us, right again, the core portion of Hampton roads. Through the weekend, easterly winds They start out northeast, then they go to east, 25 to 35, gusting as high as 50. Some of those gusts could easily bring down trees. We'll have to watch for that. 3 to 6 inch rain amounts, locally higher, moderate. That's why the asterisk is there. Maybe moderate to even major tidal flooding, and overall impact then would be moderate, assuming it stays like it was. So tonight, 76 increasing winds and very breezy conditions with isolated showers. We'll have a lot more and a special from 8 o'clock until 11:30 tonight.